Welcome. Today's episode is relevant to you even if you don't follow sports. So the idea about this topic, about the issue of how some people might view greatness, and instead of focusing on the greatness, they are focusing on try to be haters and try to diminish the achievements of others, was planted in my mind during World Cup final. So recently we had the football, or as many of you might call it, soccer World Cup. And I noticed on Twitter two things trending. The one thing trending was the hashtag rigged World Cup, which means the World Cup was bought because supposedly the powers to be wanted to give it to Messi. And the other hashtag was a hashtag called Messi, which comes from Messi and penalties. Supposedly, Messi can only win by winning penalties. But then I forgot about it. But recently, Twitter has added this function, which is called For You. So you have two timelines on Twitter. The one you see people you follow, the following timeline. And the other you see tweets related to the topics that you like. So I like basketball. I consume a lot of basketball content online. Apparently, the algorithm has picked it up. And particularly during the NBA playoffs, I see a lot of tweets from people I don't follow, but are the tweets that the algorithm think are popular on basketball. And I noticed something very interesting. There is a significant amount of Twitter accounts with thousands of followers, and they throw out tweets that get very, very popular that are mostly Twitter accounts that are basically hater accounts. And they want to diminish particular great players. For example, there's a lot of Twitter accounts saying that Lebron James, a great basketball player, should not be considered the greatest of all time, and he's basically a loser, or he's someone who is overrated and things like that. And these are the things that inspire me to do today's episode. Again, even if you don't know anything about sports, you will find value into it. Because my hot take today, my main idea today, is that not only being a hater of someone great is something that is actually making you a loser and is something which is really hurting the way you view the world. But actually, I want to make the positive case. And the positive case is that the greats of our times, the great athletes, but this could apply to other areas, are even greater than we thought. We live in an era where the achievements of the great sportsmen, of the great athletes, men and women, are even better than we can imagine. And I have some evidence to show this. So today, the title refers to haters, but today we make the positive case about appreciating the greats, about appreciating beauty. And talking about beauty, today's episode has a sponsor. And this sponsor is Quent Cordair Fine Arts. So the gallery of Quent Cordair and his wife, and many thanks to them. So Quent Cordair Fine Art has been making the world an even more beautiful place for the last 27 years. They're specializing in romantic realist paintings and sculptures. The gallery's collection emphasizes themes which celebrate the moments of happiness, of joy, and of success, and what is possible to human beings on Earth. So you can acquire art that you will want to live with, and you can do this by visiting them online. The link is below, but you can visit them online at cordair.com. This is CORDAIR.com, or you can go to the actual gallery in Napa, California, and Jackson are the locations where you have the actual gallery. So the emphasis today, again, is on the great achievers. So here's how I think about it. So there are all these people online who view a Messi or a Cristiano Ronaldo or a Lebron James. And the first thing that comes to mind is that these people are overrated. These people are losers. And usually what they do is they wait for any occasion that will give them a success, tell you, I told you so, this great person failed. So to begin with, there is something very sad if you view life and what you expect to see is failure. It means that you're doing life wrong. Because what is sports or what is art? Arts and sports, for me, is an inspiration of what is possible to a human being. What achievement is possible. So if I watch sports and I wait for someone to fail, this means I'm doing life wrong. This means I'm not waiting to get inspired by an achievement. This means I'm waiting to verify my flawed view that life is about suffering or life is about failure, or that anything that looks like greatness is something which is actually small, is something which is actually weak. And Ayn Rand has captured very well the sentiment that some people want, that people who wait for a failure. There's a great scene, there's a great line in The Fountainhead where when Gail Wynand steps back and gives up on one of his campaigns, I don't want to give much spoilers, there's a line that says that a woman was very happy that he took a step back. She had zero idea about his campaign, about his crusade, but she said she liked seeing people giving up. So to begin with, even if you know nothing about sports, you should be very much worrying about how you view life if you're someone who is motivated by the view of someone failing. But I want to make a bigger case than that. And the bigger case is that, have we really understood what it means to be someone who is a great athlete? What are the odds of someone starting with a dream, I want to become a football player, and making it not to the level of Messi or of Cristiano Ronaldo, where usually the hate is, oh, you're not the best of all times, you are the third best of all times. I'm not talking about that level. I'm talking about the level of making it to playing sports professionally. Or I see all the time these days tweets about people who wait for Lebron James to get eliminated from the playoff to prove somehow that, you see, you're not the best of all time, you're not the GOAT, Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And my question to these people is, have you got any idea what it takes not to be at the level of a LeBron James, but to be at the level of someone who plays professional basketball? So let's see it through the numbers. And the numbers are going to, they completely blew my mind. I've followed sports for decades. I never realized what are the odds of being successful in sports. So let's start by, I'll take the example of American professional basketball because we have a lot of data. So of the people who play basketball in high school, which by the way, even playing in your high school team is already an achievement, because it means from the 250 boys, let's say, I'm going to speak about men's sports, of the 215 boys that your high school has, this is the average number of boys in a high school, you make it to the top 12. So even making your high school team means you've got something going on from you. Out of these thousands and thousands and thousands of people who play basketball in high school, how many do you think make it to the college level? Only 3%. So only 3% of people who one day say, I want to be a basketball player, or I want to play basketball and be serious about it, only 3% even make it to college basketball. Out of this small group of 3% who make it to college basketball, how many do you think actually make it to the NBA? Only 1%. Only 1%. So the mere fact that someone is in the NBA, in the professional basketball league, means that they are the 1% of the 3%. Means that they're a tiny, tiny, tiny minority. So the mere fact that someone plays in the NBA means that this person has achieved something that for most people is beyond their understanding of what is possible of achieving. So the mere fact, like you watch an NBA game and you see the players in the bench who just wave the towel and never play, or play what we call garbage minutes, like at the end of the game, if the game is decided. Even these guys has achieved something that for you, the average hater, is perhaps completely unimaginable. They are the 1% of the 3% in their niche. Okay. But the players that usually haters hate, the Lebron James, the Steph Currys, or the Russell Westbrooks, they are at a very, very small percentage of this very, very, very small percentage. So what it takes, for example, for someone to win a championship, of this 0.01%, which is the percentage of people who play basketball, only 12% will ever win a championship. So I don't want to bore you with numbers, but we're talking about the vast, vast, vast minority of the vast, 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 vast minority. And here you have someone like LeBron James, who has won 4 titles, 4 rings, who is 38 years old. And he plays every other night, and he still delivers unbelievable numbers. And when you see him, your reaction is, he's overrated. So here's a new rule. Unless you are in the 0.001 of the highest achievers in your niche, unless you're in the 0.01% of the top performance in your field, you have no right to make fun of these people as they're losers or they choke in important games and stuff. You can have your opinion. It's perfectly fine to say, I prefer Michael Jordan to LeBron James, but hating one of these unbelievable achievers, again, it shows that something is not working very well in the way you view the world. So again, these people are the exceptions of the exceptions of the exceptions. These people are outliers, beyond outliers. Let me show you something. Like, I just found it scrolling by coincidence 5 minutes before the beginning of the show. So someone writes with capital letters, here are some more facts as to why LeBron James shouldn't even be on the same planet as the GOAT, as Michael Jordan. And see what they mention as supposedly the failings of LeBron James. He has only won 4 titles as opposed to the 6 titles of Michael Jordan. So he has won 4 times something that is an absolute statistical impossibility for an average person to do, but somehow this makes him a loser. Or see this. Playoff games with 40 plus points, only 28. So LeBron James, only 28 times in his life, has gone to a playoff game and scored 40 plus points. Only 28 times. How many times have these people done such a brilliant achievement in their line of work? And again, there's nothing wrong with not being top in what you do. Very few people can be top. It includes things like also talent, maybe physical capability, a lot of work, maybe higher IQ, I don't know. So it's perfectly fine to just do as good as you can. But to consider that someone is a loser because they've only in 28 games, they've scored 40 plus. He's a loser or he's overrated because he's the second best of all time and not the best of all time. Like, are you the second best in whatever you're doing in life? If not, maybe you should have a bit more of respect. So this is the average hater. And I could also give you the percentages of what it takes to succeed in football so that you can understand how people who hate on Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, and usually they would use this meme where he cries, which I also find very, very, very of very bad taste. Why would you use a meme of someone crying like this? Like, why does this give you pleasure? So I happen to also agree with the people who think that Cristiano Ronaldo is not the best of all time. I think maybe he's top 5 or top 3, but being top 5 at something, again, it's something absolutely brilliant. It's something absolute unimaginable. You should say, hey, hats off. What you did should inspire me. What you did should make me think, I wish I would be top 500. Like, if someone told me you're going to be top 5 of objectivist communicators or of top 5 of objectives. I was like, wow, I'd be in the company of Ayn Rand, of Leonard Peikoff. Like, please, yes, I would do anything. And again, the point is not to be top 5, but it would be such an achievement. And people see this achievement in real time. We see these players who have achieved things that used to be unimaginable. These people, Messi, Cristiano, Lebron, they're beyond the age of 35, and they are doing brilliant things. Back in the day, at 35, people would retire. And we see them performing. We see things that we never thought possible. Messi, for those of you who don't know football, is at the same time one of the best scorers, one of the best dribblers, and one of the best passers of all time. It's like you have 3 greats in one. And you see this, and your reaction is to say, overrated. So I gave you the statistics about basketball. In football, it's something similar. The percentage of someone who starts playing football as a kid and wants to do something with football in their life, the chances they have of making it just to be a professional footballer, not a Messi, not a Cristiano Ronaldo, not even an average, very good player like, Ilkay Gundogan, who is like top 50 midfielders of all time, for example. Even to make it at that level is 0.01%. And listen, another crazy statistic. Of the kids, of the hundreds of thousands of kids that play football, of the tiny minority who make it to a football academy of a great team, let's say who make it to the football academy of Liverpool or of Barcelona, only 3% will play a single professional game with that team. So the elite of the elites who manage to become parts of, let's say, the Liverpool Academy, only 3% will play a single professional game. So the players you see every Saturday and every Sunday, your starting premise would be, I'm seeing brilliance. Even the quote crappiest player that you see has achieved something that for most people in their field is something which is very, 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 very difficult. So let's have some respect. So before I continue, let's see what's happening with the super chats. Many thanks to Robert, who says a much needed discussion regarding an important topic and a sponsored episode sponsored by some of my favorite people. Again, this episode is sponsored by Quent Cordair Fine Art. And you can either go to their gallery at Napa, California, or Jackson, Wyoming, or visit at cordair.com. And again, many thanks for their sponsorship. Thank you, Maria-Lynn, for your contribution. Many thanks to Free Trade. Marilyn says, on a psychologically similar issue, observe the vicious comments about Martha Stewart, a beautiful, productive, talented woman. Yes, very, very, very often we see such attitude towards achievers in any part of life. Or we see this contempt about Elon Musk. And I was thinking, here you have someone who has revolutionized 3 industries. Like, how many industries have you, hater of Elon Musk, revolutionized? Have you revolutionized your own industry? Not to mention 3 industries. Well, if not, at least have some respect. That's, hey, it's perfectly fine to say, I don't like this guy. It's perfectly fine. I don't like this guy. But again, understand that you are experiencing greatness. And it's, at least, I think it would be bad for me to see something great and wait for this great achiever to fail. Like, what would this say about how I view life? The Cordairs are heroes, says Marilyn. The Cordairs are heroes also for what they did in the very dark first weeks of the lockdown, when they said, no, it's not up to other people to say who are essential workers. And they made a case of what I understand as civil disobedience, and they opened their gallery. And I think this was definitely something very brave. Again, this was before it was cool. This was within, I think it was late April or early May. It was within the darkest first weeks of lockdowns, where very few people were speaking up. Today, it's easy to play the tough guy and say, oh, the lockdowns, But back then, in the first weeks, very few people did that. And Quent Cordair Fine Art, I see they also comment, they say, I like to think that we revolutionized our industry. You did. And I've said to people, go and check particularly, my favorite piece of art is this poem about the sea, the ship sailing in the wild sea. And it was a poem that in the first weeks of the lockdowns, I didn't buy it because back then I couldn't afford it. But it's not that I couldn't afford it. I think it couldn't be sent because of the lockdowns. But the lyrics were giving me courage every single day. Marilyn says, I have 3 beautiful prints on my walls that I brought from Cordair Fine Art. Indeed. So it's something that it can be a daily reminder that, life can be even more beautiful. Life can be even greater. And this is how I view, again, the great achievers. So let's enjoy what we have the chance to experience in our days. We have access to this greatness more than the previous generation had. Like my mother had the chance to see Pelé, 3 times in her life from TV. How many times my father would have the chance to watch Maradona play? We can see Messi, Lebron James, we can watch them every week, and we're experiencing greatness. And we should appreciate what we see. And again, it's perfectly fine for someone to tell me, these people are not, like, Lebron is not of my taste. He's too woke or whatever. I can understand this. But hey, you are experiencing the outlier of the outlier. You're experiencing the tiniest statistical anomaly of greatness. So let's have the proper respect for this greatness. So that's all I wanted to say today. I don't want to, I like the episodes to be brief. So at 9 p.m. UK time today, we have Dr. Harry Binswanger celebrating 100 episodes of HBTV. So think about it this way. Where would you put Harry Binswanger, let's say, in the axis of great objectivist philosophers? Let's say you would put him top 3. Imagine if someone would create a Twitter account with something like Harry Binswanger is a loser because he's not as good as Ayn Rand. And they would create a list. Like Ayn Rand wrote Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead. Harry Binswanger only wrote How We Know. Like this person would, you say, look, good, you're doing life wrong. You are focusing on the completely wrong thing. The wrong thing, the right thing is Harry Binswanger good? This is what matters. So this is why I think that there's an issue why we live in a society that so many people are haters. And again, Twitter is not real life, but the amount of tweets I see from the algorithm being thrown at me, it shows me that a lot of people take pleasure in what we call Schadenfreude, take pleasure in seeing the greats fail. And this is not a good way to go through life. So once more, a huge thank you to Quent Cordair Fine Art for sponsoring this episode. So Quent Cordair Fine Art has been making the world an even more beautiful place for 27 years, specializing in romantic realist paintings and sculptures, and the gallery's collection emphasizes themes which celebrate the moment of happiness, the moments of joy, and the moments of success possible to man on earth, which is, by the way, what I get not only from art, but also from sports. But regarding art, you can acquire art that you will want to live with by visiting them online at cordair.com or in their Napa, California or Jackson, Wyoming locations. And my goal this summer when I will come to the United States is to finally buy this favorite painting of mine with the ship and the beautiful lyrics about sailing and the metaphor of how you should see your life journey. I see there's a comment that says today's art giveaway is going to Nikos. I'm going to send him a Sea Was Ever Sail print. Thank you so much. This is actually the painting I was referring to. And again, I'm more than happy to buy it. But last time I tried, it was during the lockdowns. There was a problem with sending stuff. Actually, with Greece, it's even difficult to get something from Amazon. So this tells you all you need to know about this country in this corner of the Balkans. It's difficult even to get Amazon to deliver you something. Imagine how difficult it is to get a piece of art. But thank you so much. This means a lot. The mere fact that you thought about it. So we'll talk in Ocon and we'll figure out how I will get this painting that, again, during the dark days of the pandemic, I had it on my desktop and it cheered me up. So that was all for today. Let's appreciate greatness. Let's make our life more beautiful. Art and sports is a way to do this. So let's appreciate great art and let's appreciate the greats at sports. All the best. Bye-bye.